Hello and welcome to our podcast focused on health and inclusivity. Today, we're diving into an important topic that's often overlooked in global discussions, the inclusion of persons with disabilities in peace-building efforts.
Yes, that's a critical subject. Too often, people with disabilities are excluded from the decision-making processes, even though they are deeply affected by conflicts and have the potential to contribute significantly to peace-building.
Exactly. Grounded in the belief that sustainable peace cannot be achieved without their inclusion at every stage, leaders like Jessica Rowland from the Peacemakers Network emphasize that disability inclusion is a political imperative, not just a technical add-on.
That's right. The inclusion of persons with disabilities should be a guiding principle from planning through to implementation, monitoring, and evaluation. It's about building systems that genuinely serve everyone involved.
Let's talk about case studies like Somalia, where approximately 11.7% of the adult population has some form of disability. Despite these numbers, the integration of disabled persons in peace processes has remained largely unmet.
Indeed, but initiatives like the Strengthening Democratic and Inclusive Local Governance Project, launched by Finn Church Aid and funded by the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency, are trying to change this.
This project, known as STRONG, seeks to address these barriers by evaluating the current levels of inclusion and identifying opportunities for the meaningful participation of disabled persons in Somalia's governance.
It's a significant step forward. As Akali Karvinen, Deputy Executive Director of Finn Church Aid, stated, "Our work in the most fragile contexts of the world shows that marginalized groups, like persons with disabilities, are frequently excluded from peace processes."
Inclusion isn't just a humanitarian concern, it's a benchmark for democratization and social cohesion. Karvinen adds that by including everyone, we demonstrate that no one should be left behind in building peaceful societies.
And this inclusion is essential globally, as emphasized by the United Nations, UNSCR 2475, which calls for the comprehensive involvement of people with disabilities in peace processes, a call reinforced by other international frameworks like the CRPD and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development.
The Global Toolkit, Beyond the Margins, also highlights specific actions for governments and organizations. It outlines systemic shifts needed to support leadership and protect the rights of people with disabilities in peacebuilding.
Absolutely. This hands-on guide is crucial for those involved in peace-building processes, offering entry points for the inclusion of persons with disabilities across prevention, response, and recovery stages of conflict.
Summing up, inclusive peacebuilding isn't just an ethical obligation, it's a practical necessity. As more entities recognize the value persons with disabilities bring to the table, we build stronger, more resilient communities.
Well said. It's about redefining peace systems to ensure they truly serve everyone, including the often overlooked voices of persons with disabilities.
Thank you for listening to our podcast today. We hope it inspires you to think about inclusivity in your communities. Join us next time as we continue exploring impactful health topics.
Goodbye, and let's keep striving for comprehensive inclusion in health and peace processes around the world.
So, from where we left off, we've established the importance of including persons with disabilities in peacebuilding, and I think it's crucial to discuss some of the practical steps being taken on the ground. For instance, the STRONG project in Somalia has been pioneering in this respect by not only advocating for inclusion in dialogue and decision-making, but also by implementing very tangible supports. These include accessible meeting places and providing assistive technologies, which are so important for participation.
Absolutely, these practical steps are vital. What stands out about initiatives like STRONG is how they align with global frameworks like UNSCR 2475 and the CRPD. These frameworks provide a solid foundation for countries to build their peace processes on practices that truly leave no one behind. Can you share how these frameworks guide the systemic inclusion you're mentioning?
Sure, so UNSCR 2475, for instance, is specifically focused on encouraging member states to consider the needs and perspectives of persons with disabilities in conflict and post-conflict situations. It calls for states to take all appropriate measures to eliminate discrimination and ensure the protection and safety of persons with disabilities in situations of risk. Meanwhile, the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, or CRPD, pushes for an inclusive approach across the board, emphasizing equal rights and opportunities.
Yes, and these frameworks also call for data collection and research to better understand the unique experiences of persons with disabilities in conflict zones. This data is crucial because it highlights areas that need more attention and drives policy changes. Plus, it helps foster a deeper understanding among peacebuilders about the specific barriers faced.
Exactly, collecting data is key. It allows for informed planning and ensures that interventions are actually impactful. There's significant progress when local communities employ these frameworks, particularly where there is a participatory element. Local disabled persons organizations often take the lead, ensuring the voices of individuals with disabilities are not just heard, but are imperative in the strategy formulation itself.
It's inspiring to see that happening. And I think this participatory approach is transformational in peacebuilding because it not only empowers those who are often marginalized, but also builds trust within communities. When different people from various sectors and experiences contribute to peace efforts, the solutions are much more holistic and integrated.
Agreed. Taking things a step further, there are successful examples where peacebuilding projects include disability awareness training for peacekeepers and mediators. This kind of training is essential because it improves understanding and empathy, contributing to more effective and inclusive peace processes.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. These training programs are effective in dismantling stereotypes and biases that can inadvertently exclude or harm persons with disabilities. When peacekeepers understand these dynamics, they're more likely to facilitate environments that support and foster peace more effectively.
Exactly, it's about changing perceptions and building environments where everyone feels valued. It's equally critical to note that inclusion doesn't just mean being physically present. It's about meaningful participation. We need to ensure that legal and policy frameworks are strong and implemented correctly to bring about such inclusive settings.
Completely agree. Implementing policy is indeed the next frontier, ensuring commitments translate to action on the ground. In countries where peace-building efforts have embraced these practices, such as in Somalia with the Strong Project, we see a real movement towards not just temporary peace, but sustainable peace.
Yes, sustainable peace should indeed be our ultimate goal. And as we strive for that, we must keep revisiting and reassessing our strategies. Iterating on what works and being open to innovation, this kind of adaptability is what will keep the momentum going.
Couldn't have said it better. Being adaptable and inclusive often requires that we learn continuously and remain open-minded. It's about building a competency in peace-building that is dynamic and resilient. Hopefully, our discussion today sheds some light on this necessity and inspires more individuals and organizations to act and invest in this vital area.
Yes, and advocacy is a continuous journey. So, to all our listeners, engage with these efforts locally, advocate for inclusion, and let's keep pushing the boundaries for what's possible in peace building. It's not just an aspiration, it's an essential pursuit.